Welcome to part one, an introduction to the Guillows British SE5a. Yeah, it's another SE5a. I like them. Deal with it. Okay. The last project I did was the vintage model company, and I partly did that one first before this one because I thought I could learn from it. Also, I didn't get this kit until Christmas morning, so you know, hey. So my good lady has supplied me with this, mainly because I said, she said, what do you want? So I told her. Simple as that, really. There's a few differences between this kit and the vintage model company. Now, I know that I'm doing a comparison. Some people may say that's wrong, but you know, hey, it's my video. You make your own. The one thing that does come immediately to mind is that this is a rubber powered design, and we're going to make it into a radio controlled model with an electric engine, or electric motor I should say. So we're going to do modifications, which is going to add weight. Now, everybody on YouTube who has done something similar will say, you got to get rid of the weight, you got to get rid of the weight. Well, yeah, you have got to get rid of the weight, but also the more weight you have, the faster it goes through the air. The faster it goes through the air, the more control you have over the control surfaces and the more control you have over the model. Also, if it's a little bit heavier, you can fly it in a little bit of wind, maybe 4 miles an hour, maybe 5. You know, if you're going to make this model, you need it flat calm. And how many days a year do you get it flat calm? Not many. Not many. Unless you're going to do indoor flying. Now, here's the thing. If you're not in the UK, which I am, and a lot of the people watching it is in the UK, we don't have a lot of land. We're a very small island. We don't have big arenas. We don't have big sports things where you can fly these things inside. And the health and safety probably wouldn't let you anyway. And to hire the thing, the cost would be probably prohibitive. We have no room, which is why our gardens are about 10 foot by about 30 foot, and that's about your lot, which Americans would call a yard. So yeah, you've got to find a club or a field or somewhere where somebody's not going to mind you flying your models and with almost zero wind, which doesn't happen very often. Anyway, I'm having a bit of a moan. I know I am. I get it. So the other thing that struck me straight away was, yeah, you do get some tissue, which I'm going to use my own. I've bought some Japanese stuff, which I've been reliably told is the one to go for, so that's my choice. But mainly, and again a comparison going back to the Vintage Model Club, every single part on these sheets are marked. Every single one. Every single one is marked. Bloody good show, I say. Absolutely excellent. Can't fault it. You didn't get that with the Vintage Model Co. You had to have several sheets of A4, which I thought was a bit slack considering the price of the model. But that's my personal opinion. If you don't like it, well, go and tell the wind. You also get the vacuum the vacuum parts, and you get a lot of the stringers. I might get some different wood to do this. These are very, very fragile. I may go down that road and buy some and make my own. I'm not quite sure. You obviously get the rubber band propeller, and you get some wheels, which is nice. That's okay. There's your rubber band, and you get a bunch of various sizes of balsa, and I haven't looked into what that's for yet. So that's what you get in the box. Along with that, Here we go. There you are. I'll be putting that to one side because I won't be using that. You do get the decals, and in my experience with the other SE5a I made, these didn't stick too well to the skin. I'm looking into a different type of liquid to make these stick. I've looked at the Humbrol All Fix. I've bought a bottle of it. It's rather expensive, but in the instructions for that, you put the liquid on and you soak this in their liquid, and then it dries overnight and forms perfectly, but you have to do it overnight. So looking into that anyway. So you get all the stickers. These look like they're water slide, so that's what you get there, and that's quite good. Actually, I think that's better than the other one. Shh, don't tell anyone. Little plastic bag. And so now, the only criticism I would have on day one of the introduction is your plans come one side there, and instructions and so forth that side there. And really, it would have been nice if you had two sheets, because then you can look at instructions and thinking, oh blimey, you know, I've got everything pinned on there, and then what I need to know is on the other side. That's my only criticism at this moment. You get some instructions here and here, which I've not looked at yet. In case I haven't already mentioned it, it's the Kit 202 British SE5a. This is the laser cut version, the later model that came out. I believe in the earlier kits there's more stuff inside that you don't get with this, and I'm not quite sure what those parts are just yet, but I'm pretty sure it'll all come out in the wash. Now, I'm hoping, as in my last kit, to put ailerons into this wing. Now, here's the thing. Just like the last one, we're going to make this do something it's not designed to do. Number one, we're going to put radio control into it, and an electric motor and a battery, which is not designed to do. You can put a Cox 020 or an 049. Wouldn't go for an 049 myself if you happen to get one, but I had one of these Cox engines when I was a kid, and I could never start the damn thing. Couldn't get it started, and there's fuel everywhere, and it just rots the wood. But now, well, this is the last day of 2021. We're about to go, tomorrow will be 2022. We have electronics, and things are half the size and half the weight and everything else, so it's more economical now and better to go electric. And a lot of people down my flying club, there's only the odd one or two that still fly with what some people call gas engines. We use internal combustion, so we say IC, internal combustion engines. So everybody's, not everybody, but most people are now going electric, and it smells better, and it's not as noisy, and it's cheaper, and they start. Amount of times I've seen guys spending half an hour trying to make an engine start, you wouldn't believe it. Anyway, putting that to one side. Now, I have spoken with certain guys down the club. Yes, I do have a life outside of this, you know, I do get to meet people. I'm getting various ideas about how I'm going to tackle it. Some people said, don't bother yourself. Well, it's my money, I'll spend it on what I like. So, but what I might, actually one good piece of advice I did get from one of the old boys, he said, look at other people's plans. I can't remember where I got this from. This is a V-Ron, and it does come, although I think it's just one sheet. Let me just unfold it. Yeah, so this is a simpler and smaller version of rubber powered, and I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, well, what if I just put a whole sheet of balsa along here, change these formers of thin ply, yeah, copy them from this height up here. This will add a lot of strength. Yes, it'll add a lot of weight, but it'll add a lot of strength, okay? And it might make the build that much easier. That was one thing that came to mind. Now, the other thing that came to mind was, if I can get this folded up again, a bit like having a map in the old days before we had sat nav. Now, I'll just put these just to one side for a second, and I'll put the kit to one side for a second. So, let's have a think about this. Old magazines, yeah, they got their kits in there, and they have plans on how they build their things, and these photographs. What's this one here? That's a different plane. There's an SE5a by you know who. I'm having a look at how do they do it. How are they doing it? Okay, and what kit are they using? What's this one for? Don't know. It's not related to that. So I'm looking at these old work magazines, RCME, Radio Modeler. You get free plans in there, so you get tips and ideas on how to do things. And I've got a few more here. There you go. Now, looking at a larger scale, let's have a look. This is designed by MJ Healy, and this is a copyright 1983. I don't know if I'm breaking any copyrights by doing this. I have no idea. If I have, I apologise. Don't sue me. I haven't got any money. What I might do in the wing now, as a wise old modeler said to me, he said, you know what? If you put extra ribs in the leading edge and the odd rib here, he said basically what you're doing is you're increasing the aerofoil basically, and that will give you more lift. He said what you got is okay with that model. He said but you need the lift, and although the wing shape is correct, and although it would be better if the underneath of the rib was sort of hollowed out, gives you even more lift. He said, well, if you put these at the front, the extra ribs, you get that shape that you need, and that will give you the extra lift, and that will partly overcome some of the weight issues, plus the fact putting a great big motor in it. So I said, good idea. So here I have a larger scale, and shiver me timbers, what have they got? They got the extra ribs in at the front. Yeah, so you'll have a rib here, full length, and a quarter rib, a full rib, quarter rib. So I think what I might do is increase the amount of ribs, not by many, but certainly double up on the leading edge ribs. Now that will improve the aerofoil and the lift. Yes, it will increase weight, but it'll also make the wing a lot stronger, which means that if the wind is, you know, I don't have to worry too much about it. Well, I will, but not as much, you know, I can't fly it in a gale. But anyway, there you go. So it gives it some internal strength as well as. Now, if I do have ailerons, then I'll just move the camera, see if I can get this right. If I do have ailerons, okay, I can either put a servo in, as I did with the last one, or I can use this mechanism here. See, aileron servo, yeah, put that in there, put a rod down to here, or a snake. You come to this pivot line here, and that's like a joint thing, and it moves the aileron, goes down to the horn. So I might do that. I haven't decided. So let me just check the camera. There you go. So I'm really putting some thought into this before I even pin the plan on the board. I have to decide what servos I'm going to use. I'm going to decide what motor I'm going to use. etc, etc. I might use the same motor as I did in the last one because these are a similar size, similar capacity. And as another old wise mother said to me, what do the manufacturers use for something similar, and copy that, which is actually a blooming good idea, because it saves me having to get my calculator out and work all the thrust ratios and all this other shenanigans, which sometimes can take the fun out of it unless you're a bit sad. Okay, so there we go. Now I did have a comment from somebody on the last one. You're rubbish and you don't know what you're talking about, blah blah blah. All right, before I go any further, right, okay, the whole idea is I'm not a professional modeler. I don't do this for a living. I don't write for magazines and say this, that and the other. I'm just your normal average guy, all right, who's trying to do something that a lot of people wouldn't attempt, or you've always wanted to do since you were a child, right? And now I'm old enough and I can afford to buy the bits, because when I was a kid I couldn't afford radios and we didn't have the technology anyway, right? So I'm just saying, all right, if you think you can do better, which you probably can, do it. Do it, because I welcome constructive criticism. But the reason I do these videos is because I see the end results on YouTube or whatever, but the question is, how did you do it? How did you arrive at this end product? And they don't want to tell you. Partly because they don't want to go into their office or living room or kitchen and spend a whole day editing something that's 15 or 20 minutes long. Because it can take just as long to edit these videos. Yeah. So if you have got a criticism and it's constructive, just bear in mind, this takes a long time to put together and you're seeing it in 15, 20 minutes. Yeah. So if you're going to do a Guillows SE5a and you want to see how I do it, which it may be wrong, it may be right, I don't know until it flies, right? Then you can learn from what I did right and from what I did wrong and how you could improve on it, and then tell me how you improved on it, because I'd like to know, and I think a lot of other people would like to know. Okay, there's too many people out here doing fast forwards. I'm for the long game. If you're not for the long game, this video is not for you. Okay, so there you go. I've had my rant, and let's see how this model turns out. So watch out for part 2. I hope you will follow, like and subscribe. In fact, no, press that button to subscribe, ring the bell and do it now. All right, I don't get any money for this. You're getting it buck-shee. All right, thank you very much, and a happy 2022.
I'm bored. Blah! Bored. I'm bored. Nah.